Hi, I'm Bob, owner of the Tiltwell Etsy store, selling my designed Tiltwell ink bottle stands. And the purpose of these stands is to make filling your pens easier, especially as it gets down towards the bottom of the ink bottle. You've got different kinds of pens, different kinds of pen filling mechanisms. One pen that has a pretty large nib, and it's a piston filler, so you've got to turn this, and it's a two-handed operation where you've got to hold it down here and twist this. So pretty much with all these pens, the ink bottle's got to be stationary and not in a situation where you need to be touching the ink bottle. It's got a converter on it, and it's actually best to fill this with the nib being in the ink and then twisting this again, kind of a two-handed affair. Are called ink sac lever pens, where you have to pull the lever, squeezes the bag inside, and lifts the ink up. And again, it's kind of a two-handed affair. Now, when you fill a pen, let's take this larger one as an example. Really, the best thing to do is to have the ink all the way up to the section. So you'd be pulling in ink through here, up in there. So what that means, if you have a ink bottle like this, you have to stick it in here like this, or maybe here like this, and you can see how it's really not going to fill. Now with this particular design, they've set it up so you can set it on its edge. So you might be able to get it like this, but it's still not quite enough to get that. But if you can tilt it more at a 45-degree angle and come in here, you're probably limited to about like this, you have a better chance of getting most of the nib in. Now at some point, for big nibs like this, you're going to have to pour it out into something like this. I think this is called like an ink saver. This is one that I printed out so that you can stick it all in there. But the problem with using these is it starts to get a little messy. How do you pour it in there? I actually even created a little funnel so I could pour it in there. But this is kind of an unusually large nib. I guess a more normal nib. This, and if this was at a 45-degree angle, you'd be pretty close to having that section in the ink, at least for the next fill or two. Other ink bottles like this one, you really do need to be able to tilt it over. You can't put it on its side. There's no other surface here. This bottle's unique in that it has this depression, which lets you get a little bit deeper in the well, but you can see it's at some point in the level of this thing, it's not going to be able to fill. But again, if you can turn it at a 45-degree angle, you have tons of room before you end up with any problems being able to fill. Here's one that has a stand. It's at a 45-degree angle. This is really kind of good, but it's kind of wobbly. It makes me nervous. And if you ever spill one of these bottles, well, let's say just don't do it. The cleaning up process just would be bad. I ran into this dilemma of how to fix that, and I came up with probably 20 different designs before I came up on this one. And I posted it on the internet, and some people thought, well, that's kind of cool. Are you selling those? I might like to have one. So I figured, well, maybe I can make a little bit of money. Maybe I can make enough money so I can buy another printer. Maybe I can make enough money so I can buy a few pens. So this isn't a huge manufacturing deal. You can see the printer in action here. I can really only print about 3 or 4 of these per day. Set it up with a lot of different surfaces in here so it would accept all of my inks, and probably more. So the list is on my Etsy site. My favorite ink to use is this one, and it fits really nice and it's stable. This ink, it's a little bit less of a firm fit, but more than firm enough for filling. That's a nice firm fit. All of them putting the stuff at a 45-degree angle. I suspect this will fit many other ink bottles as well. I've made them in two different filaments. This is called PLA plastic. I purposely printed it thin on this one because it's a translucent white, so you can see the ink in there. And then a little bit thicker, more structurally solid unit in something called flat black, where I think it still looks pretty nice. If you have any questions, please start a conversation with me on Etsy and I'll give you the answer. I guess that's it.